Gentlemen all over the world. I am Omolade Olomola, and this morning we are continuing with our webinar series, particularly Meet the Faculty webinar series, and I am the presenter for this morning. I want to appreciate all the people that have joined from all over the world. This meeting is being streamed online on Facebook, and it, of course, is going online via Zoom. I want to appreciate all the people that have joined, particularly from my country, Nigeria, and from my country here, Uganda. Members of the university community of Cavendish, I want to welcome all of you. Our Director of Postgraduate School, I can see that you are on board. And I can see a lot of faculty people here on board. I want to appreciate, Folusho Oshunade. I see a lot of my people on board. I believe that we are going to be having a robust discussion this morning. So I bring greetings from the Faculty of Law, Acacia Campus, Cavendish University. And I also bring greetings from the university management as part of the university management of Cavendish University, where success begins. So we are going to be starting off without wasting further time. And I'll be sharing my screen. And I would want to know whether my screen is visible at this moment. If it is visible, please let me know.
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you very much. So the title of this...
Could you enlarge, please?
Sure. Just a minute. Is it all right like this?
Yes, it's fine now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the title of my presentation this morning is Law, that's icing on the cake for social engineering and sustainable development. This topic is not far-fetched from the fact that I'm first of all a lawyer, then a law teacher, and a researcher. And so this morning, away from what we have been listening to in business, in technology, we want to see how law affects the whole society and how law is key to every profession, how law is key for social engineering and for sustainable development. That is the Faculty of Law of Cavendish University, Acacia Campus, where we are currently seated and where we are hosting this webinar series, particularly for the Faculty of Law.
And led them to the most.
Mr. Bernard, you said something?
No, I haven't said anything. Sorry.
Thank you. So the vision of Cavendish University, Uganda is a center of excellence, innovation, and transformation. And that is what we are set to do. Our mission is to transform and inspire students to reach their full potential in employment, entrepreneurship, and ethical leadership. And we have our values. We have 7 of them, which are excellence, integrity, responsibility, respect, communication, passion, and innovation. From our vision, mission, and values, you will see what we stand for. And it is based on this that whatever we cook inside Cavendish, we base it on it. We want to be a center of excellence. We want to be a center where innovative issues come out from. We want to be a school where transformation, is done. And want to inspire our students to be able to reach their maximum potentials. Now, this is the outline of the webinar this morning, this afternoon, or morning, as the case may be, wherever you are. Do some introduction, then we'll look at the role of law in social engineering, which is the icing. We look at what legal education is in the 21st century. We look at Cavendish University and the clinical legal education pedagogy, wherein we'll look at education, skill acquisition, and entrepreneurship. Then we'll look at our modes of study, the peculiarities, what makes us to be the school for the now. Then we'll look at law and sustainable development and how to create positive change. Now, straight away to introduction. For decades in Africa, law schools and Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, yeah, we can.
Thank you. Now, for decades in Africa, I said law schools and faculties have relied on an education model that focuses on theory, providing minimal opportunity for students to
We
learn.
can say it.
Thank you. And apply the practical problem-solving skills critical to becoming a competent lawyer in real-world setting. Now, modern learning theory provides direction, and the tools are available for improving the legal education system to prepare students for the practice of law. Law is indeed one of the noble professions apart from medicine and two others. Medieval and early modern tradition recognize only three professions, which are divinity, medicine, and law, and they were called the learned profession. Now, let's look at law as a noble profession. Nobility confers admiration and respect and prescribes standard of behavior. Law as a profession has evolved over the years, and its importance cannot be overemphasized. And every aspirant to the bar is welcomed into the special community or fraternity with a sentence like, "You are welcome to this noble profession." So what we're saying is that law is one of the great healing professions. Whilst medicine takes care of the body and the clergy takes care of the soul, we take care of the society. And this brings into limelight the reason why we are considered to be a noble profession. Krishnawami Iyer, in his timeless piece titled Professional Conduct and Advocacy, discussed the place of legal profession in the order of society and why it is considered noble. He calls the profession noble because he says, and I quote, "The most brilliant and attractive of peaceful profession with responsibilities both inside and outside it, with which no person carrying on any other profession has to shoulder." You see, a lawyer must know something about everything, because when an engineer comes in, there must be something about engineering law. When a doctor comes in, there must be something about law and medicine. So as I was saying, while considering the issue of practice of legal profession, Justice Iyer reiterated that an advocate has to deal with the greatest possible variety of human relations and has his metal constantly tried from every direction. What we are saying here is that what we're saying here is that law is so important to this society that you cannot take care of only the body and the soul without taking care of the society. And we carry the burden of the society. And that is why an advocate earns great distinction, which ought not to be misused at any cost. So the underlying philosophy of the legal profession is service to the society, which is similar to the work of a doctor. And the aim is to protect citizens from social diseases. And we know we have a lot of social diseases around, a lot. When we talk about social diseases, we have corruption, we have marital challenges, we have domestic violence, we have criminal tendencies here and there. Now, talking about the role of law in social engineering. Social engineering is based on the notion that laws are used as means to shape the society and regulate people's behavior. And it is indeed an attempt to control human conduct through the help of law. According to famous Roscoe Pound, law is social engineering, which means a balance between the competing interests in society in which applied science are used for resolving individual and social problems. I'm really having issues. What Roscoe Pound was reiterating that time was on the fact that the functional aspect of the law must be predominant. And according to him, the end of the law should be to satisfy a maximum of wants with a minimum of friction. So that means that you want to take care of the criminal aspect, you want to take care of the civil aspect, you want to take care of those diseases with minimal friction. The theory of social engineering is a balance between competing interests. And the legal philosopher believes that jurists should work with a plan, and accordingly, various interests of society should be protected. Now, the practice of law can no longer be neatly separated from the practice of other disciplines. So also, as we have all over the world now, in time past when there is a war, it's a clean war. You know, the guerrilla warfare, you know that team A is fighting team B, country A is fighting country B. But now, gradually, the civilians have come into the art of war. And that is why the principle of distinction is very difficult to be exercised in terms of war. Similarly, with the practice of law, law has entered into other disciplines in such a way that it affects and is affected by other disciplines and other professions in at least 3 ways. The first one is that some other area of knowledge and discipline and practices which concern it may at times be the subject of legal control and regulation. For example, legal regulation significantly affect the promulgation of knowledge and expertise in liberal arts through constraints on the university system of promotion and tenure. Second, the expertise provided by another organized body of knowledge may the expertise provided by another organized body of knowledge may at times be necessary to the resolution of a particular legal issue. Like the expert testimony of a mental health professional is often central to a judgment of culpability of non-culpability in a criminal law proceeding. They want to be sure that the person is actually having issues. And third, law may be the subject matter of another discipline. Thus, the study of law might be sensibly regarded as not only preparation for a profession, but also as a branch of the humanities or the social sciences. The teachings of other disciplines, and particularly the teachings of both the sciences and the humanities, can guide the lawyer in an attempt to provide a service for others and can give some meaning to our quest for justice through law. Now let's see what a legal education should look like in our present time. Thomas Jefferson said, "Educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty." Once you have knowledge, you are empowered. Once you have education, you are strengthened. You are liberated forever. So the education of the lawyer never ends, because they must constantly be abreast of information which may be of use to their clients and to the whole world. And our world in the 21st century is changing rapidly. Populations are more mobile. Economic markets are becoming global. Transactions demand cultural understanding. The internet and other communication technologies bridge time zones and distances to form new communities not bound by territory. For example, online this morning, we have people from all over the world, from Nigeria, from India, from all over. The law too is changing to reflect and adapt to these new conditions and circumstances. So that's why we talk about the global village. So in the light of these advances in technology and globalization, the 21st century lawyer is one who ethically delivers legal services more efficiently and effectively, and in a manner that helps to ensure the continued success of the legal profession. So traditional legal education failed to teach the same practice of law, being narrow and rigid in its method. Practical skills were actually lacking because they were not taught. Rather, individuals would have to acquire skills through the practice of it. So majorly legal education could not inculcate in students a pattern of critical thinking that will not only enhance the case being handled, but also improve societal well-being. Now, when we see what Lisa Rundle said, he said, I consider going into business or becoming a lawyer, not for money, but the thrill of problem solving. So once you remove problem solving from the work of a lawyer, then what you are doing is you are not doing anything. We are problem solvers, basically. So a balanced legal education must instill all the rudiments that will make a complete lawyer, devoid of any inadequacies. And the last century of the last millennium was characterized by this improvement and development in the field of science and technology, including communication, information technology, and law. Now, what is it about clinical legal education pedagogy? Clinical legal education pedagogy is the new dimension of legal education. And Cavendish University in Uganda has adopted this pedagogy because it entails the education itself, skill acquisition, and entrepreneurship. So law clinics provide hands-on opportunities to learn, practice lawyering skills, legal analysis, and also to serve as social justice platform for providing access to justice through legal assistance to the indigent. Is relatively new in Uganda. And that is why we are promulgating it so that it will become acceptable all over here. CLE actually began in 1998 at the Law Development Center, which is the institution vested with the role of awarding license or practice of law to law graduates in Uganda, and gradually it's been accepted all over. It's been the spread has continued, and we have established our own clinic care at Cavendish University. We actually started last year, June. The law clinic at CUU has focused on training of students on clinical legal education and justice education since its inception. And the CLE has activated the introduction of poverty and development law issues into a curriculum that has traditionally ignored these subjects in favor of those related to business, commercial, and middle class interests. Once you remove development from law, then law becomes a two-legged bulldog. Law is about dynamism. It's about the society. And so it must keep evolving with time. And with the changes in time and circumstances, it must keep changing. For instance, from the feedback survey that we had after our training, the 80% of the students asserted that clinical legal education introduced them to the realities of the social justice issues that we have in Uganda. Now, establishing law clinics and clinical legal education actually helps to promote internalization of core values, which is required for the 21st century law students to become a socially engineered lawyer, a lawyer that's relevant to the society, not just for his pocket, but to make the society a better place. So the CLE improves legal education as it provides an opportunity for students to actually practice lawyering skills, such as client counseling, interviewing, negotiating, legal research, and legal writing. And it also increased access to opportunities because the law clinic would offer students opportunity to create a balance between their intellectual development and their personal development on the other hand, and they will be relevant for contemporary labor market. We all know that gone are those days where somebody will say, hey, I studied basically marketing, and therefore I cannot, I don't have anything to do with English. If you cannot communicate with the language of the people, how do you want to sell your products? So all those things must work together. So skill acquisition, a skill and knowledge acquisition would enable the student to have ultimate insight into understanding and create their professional identity and their test for lifelong learning. And learning these skills will give our students a sense of accomplishment, a feeling of preparedness, and unwavering confidence about their abilities. So, and it gives them readiness to adopt and venture into the ever-evolving field of legal practice. And so that is why we are saying that should be the new dimension all over the world. Clinical education it is, because it is all encompassing. It endows the students with skill acquisition and some other entrepreneurship skill. So the Law Clinic program is a pragmatic platform for the development of visible and accessible services in the legal field, and it encourages people to resolve their justice needs in a fair manner. And raising public awareness like we're doing this morning, and knowledge about citizens' rights, legal rights on specific issues like land, family, and the legal system, which institutions to approach for which problems would foster legal empowerment for citizens through the clinic. And the program at the various law schools can be a platform for engaging in advocacy campaigns and supporting other stakeholders in the efforts to consolidate, update, and modernize the law on legal aid in Uganda and codify government's obligation to provide legal aid Uganda. It also helps to identify aspects of the justice system that requires improvements and establishes clear goals towards the realization of a select social justice issue on a target population. Clinics should interact and interface with communities around the institution hosting such clinics, and that is why we can be socially relevant. And this will ensure that CLE is helpful both to the student and to the host community. We are bringing the gown to the town, and we provide effective and comprehensible public legal education through street law campaign. Now, what are the peculiarities of our mode of study in CUU? We are positioned as a leading law school in Uganda. We provide high quality hands-on blended legal education aimed at transforming students into responsible, educated, entrepreneurial, and employable citizens. Then learning at CUU Faculty of Law is innovative, student-centric, participatory, active, and practical. The Socratic approach is employed in all our courses. A technology platform is deployed to support blended learning and other forms of effective and active learning. And our program is designed in such a way to introduce our students to different legal perspectives, creating awareness of different constitutional aspects, amongst others, which will stimulate students' ability to translate legal theory and given cases into concrete actions suitable within the context of their profession. Of course, we have the undergraduate and we have the Masters of Law with specialization in natural resources law, international commercial law, and human rights and governance and development, and a unique course offering on forensics, criminology, and the law. Now, looking at law and sustainable development, is law standing alone? No. Is law relevant to sustainable development? Yes. When you look at the sustainable development goals, when you browse through it, you see that peace, justice, and strong institution is goal number 16. Whilst we have partnership for the goals in goal number 17, goal number 4 is quality education, gender equality is goal number 5. So you see, and the reduction of inequality is goal number 10. Sustainable cities and communities is goal number 11. So when we talk about law, law is just it for sustainable development. Now, the whole world is giving importance to knowledge economy. And since the development of knowledge economies remains an important goal of the developed and developing countries, the establishment of educational institutions of global excellence, along with change new curriculum of global standard, ought to become the priority of a developing country. So talking about law and sustainable development, education stands for development, and legal education makes men law-abiding and socially conscious. There's no way that we not have knowledge of law that will not be socially conscious. Legal education promotes the establishment of socio-economic justice. Change is the law of nature, and law is the regulator of social change. Therefore, legal education is key to administering rule of law in a democratic society. The legal profession in this era of globalization is at a transformative stage in its history. So we live and work in an increasingly borderless world. I have seen faces here that are from all over the world that I might not even meet. So we are gradually living in a borderless world. The principles of the rule of law, equality, equity, inclusion, rights, laws, and strong institutions are all embedded in the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and especially Sustainable Development Goal 16, which aims to promote peaceful and inclusive society for sustainable development, providing access to justice for all, build effective and accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. So nobody should be left out. We cannot say that because we are educated, the society, the poor society should be left out. What we are doing is actually for the society, and that is it. So the rule of law is relevant to all three dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental. By providing stable and transparent legal regimes, the rule of law encourages economic development. And I'm sure there's nobody on this platform that would not want economic development for their jurisdiction. We are all shouting for economic development, but we need transparent legal regimes to provide for economic development. So by ensuring equal opportunity and equitable access to basic services, it promotes social development. By strengthening the laws to protect the environment and ensure proper management of natural resources, it ensures environmental sustainability. By the way, when we talk about environmental sustainability, there are a lot of environmental issues that we need to tackle in the society, which, if it boomerangs, it affects everybody. When we have tsunamis, we have flood disaster, it affects everybody. When we have landslide, like the one that just happened in Syria and Turkey, we see several thousands of people buried in there. It affects everybody. I'm sure there will be no business around that area for some time because they will start the work of rebuilding. So whatever we are doing, we are talking about sustainable development. But there are some roadblocks to innovation. Innovation and reform are hindered by obstacles that include tradition. Tradition, people can be so obstinate about their tradition. Then failure to recognize the cause and effects of stress. Outdated curriculum, this is the way I want to do my own. Outdated teaching and assessment practices. Faculty resistance. Ineffective use of available technology, and the rising cost of legal education. And I must quickly state at this point that it's not only legal education that is gradually becoming expensive. There is no education, attainment of education that is not expensive. But on a lighter note, people say that if you say education is expensive, then try ignorance. So the truth of the matter is that whatever is good you have to spend money to attain it. So how do we now create this positive change as lawyers? Or how do we create this positive change in our little corners, in our different professions, since we have established the fact that all the professions have gone, we have mixed together. In this era of globalization, attention should be paid to 4 important factors to improve the standard of legal education. These are global curriculum, global faculty, global degrees, and global interactions. Global curriculum, global faculty, global degrees, and global interaction. Gone are those days when we say, our own curriculum, this is how we do it in this country. We should all gone for international best practices. What is befitting and fitting for the whole world? They're talking about global faculty. You should not limit yourself. If you cannot get the type of faculty, cannot recruit the type of faculty you need locally, then extend your tentacles all over. Global degrees, your degree should be relevant, not accept to have degrees, obtain degrees, and they cannot be useful in other climes. Global interaction. Law educators must have to think globally, but act locally. Law is one of the most dynamic subjects in the world, and so it is very important. I want to quickly say that dynamism is the lifeblood of law. Dynamism, creativity is the lifeblood of law. A law which is static cannot survive for long and will be rejected by people for whom the law will be implemented. So to keep the pace with the changing situation of the world, we have also to change by addition, subtraction, or cancellation of the traditional curriculum of legal education. Otherwise, in future, it will lose its importance and return into a relic of the past. Professor Stephen Marks of Harvard University has advocated that law can be a tool for change, and his studies can prepare one to be a problem solver and an agent for positive change in a time of new challenges such as climate change. I don't even want to go into the realm of climate change. We know that it's a challenge with us, but most of the time, when we see all these social challenges, we look at them as if it's so far off. I remember when I was in the primary school, when they are talking about bomb, and they are mentioning some names of the country, Kazakhstan, they are mentioning big names. I just see it as something that I can never witness. But what happens? Boom! Some years after, very close community in northeastern part of my country, Nigeria, we started hearing bomb blasts here and there and there and here. And you are wondering, from where is this one coming from? The truth of the matter is that we need to be agents for positive change because there are indeed new challenges. So what am I saying? I am saying that the study of law can prepare you to make lots of money, helping those with money protect and expand their wealth. But more importantly, the study of law can also prepare you to be a problem solver and an agent for positive change in a time of new challenges such as climate change, the Marx remarked. So what is next? What are we talking about? What have we been saying? There must be training of teachers in CLE for hands-on experience, retraining of students. We need to organize community outreaches. Then we must all participate in social justice lawyering. Then, of course, our clinic must go into full operation, taking up pro bono cases and writing legal opinions, because the law must actually emerge from the law faculty. And of course, it must create awareness. At this juncture, I want to appreciate everyone that has joined in this discussion, and I want to plead the audience for feedback, for questions, which I'm open to take at this moment. Thank you very much. So, over to you, the host. Questions, please. Questions? Yeah, I can see the hand of Aman Tuaiwe. Please feel free. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that wonderful presentation. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all of us on the call. Prof, I have a question. One of the key aspects of the law is the doctrine of precedent. Yet we are saying that the law is dynamic, yet precedent is we look back. Maybe you could guide us. How do we reconcile the two? Because we have to keep, stand by decided decisions, but then also we have to keep dynamic. Maybe you could share with us ideas on how how to strike a balance between the two. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Aman. Now, talking about judicial precedents, we all know that history is very, very important when we are dealing with life issues. And that is why when we're talking about history will help us to know where we have gone wrong and what we have done right. And that is why the place of judicial precedents in law. We want to see what they have done before, and now it has worked. And now it can be applicable, whether we can do some variations here and there. And that is why most of the time the Supreme Court may want to overrule itself when they believe that their former position was far inferior, meaning was not well informed or was based on information that is not that was not not based on full information. So we cannot rule out the place of judicial precedent. When we keep changing, when we look at our history, we know where we were before and where we want to get to. And that is the importance of judicial precedent. Judicial precedent will help us to improve the law by changing what was not working for what will work. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered that. We can ask our questions now. Mr. Oluchumabiorie from Nigeria, you have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. I appreciate the lecture and I enjoyed it so much. But I want to ask, so what would then be the role of the judiciary, the legislature, and particularly lawyers in social engineering?
Thank you very much, Mr. Orioye. By the way, Mr. Orioye is a practicing advocate, or we call counsel in Nigeria. He's a senior counsel in Nigeria, and we were college mates at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Thank you for joining this call. Now, to answer your question, the role of the judiciary, the legislature, is enormous, and the role of lawyers enormous in the development of the law. For the judiciary, they interpret the law. And we know, like what Justice Holmes said, they interpret the law, but they must do so with caution. In interpretation, they must make sure that whatever they are doing is socially relevant. If a judge bases his decision basically on the full scale of law as it is, without adding human face, of course he will run foul. And that's where the dynamism and judicial activism comes in. A judge must be live and active and knows what is happening on the plane, so that the decision that will form the body of our precedent, that what they will make pronouncements on, will be socially relevant in the development of the law and in the development of the society. But the legislature cannot just make just any law. Times have changed. In time past, we may not even know what is happening at the parliament. But nowadays, as they are making the law, we know it because of we are living in a borderless world. So they cannot afford to make dead letter laws. They cannot afford to make laws that will not have impact. For example, now, I don't see anybody in the parliament in Turkey or Syria talking about, would I say, land rights now. What they will be thinking towards is climate change and issues that's affecting their country. So the legislation must be socially relevant in such that they know what is happening, they are abreast of what is happening. And for the lawyers, we cannot afford to remain where we are. We have to be dynamic. We have to be dynamic in the sense that to keep improving the law, we cannot say that, oh, because we want to play the part of, I don't know how many of us know the story of Merchant of Venice, you know, the pound of flesh and the Shylock, the money lender. And you know, given that interpretation of pound of flesh in a place that is close to the heart, not shedding a drop of blood. We cannot, we cannot allow law to remain static. And that is why, thankfully, we have principles of equity. So as lawyers, as we are improving the law, we need to always include the issue of fairness and social relevance into our advocacy. I don't know whether I've been able to answer your question. Thank you very much, Mr. Oloye. Can we have more feedbacks, please? Well, otherwise, if we don't have any other feedback, I want to appreciate the university community for giving me this opportunity to present my thoughts, to share with the whole world what I believe would help in the development of legal education, and to bring to the fore the social engineering and sustainable development aspects of the law. I can see the hand of Mr. Larry Akibobola or Mrs. Larry Akibobola. Please, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you very much. It is Mrs. Thank you very much for your presentation this morning. Very enlightening and educative. My question is, the legal system, education system in Nigeria was, I believe, derived from the English legal system. How relevant is that still in our education in Africa now? And also, what changes or what impact do our local laws and customs have in teaching law to students?
Thank you very much. Now, in answering that, like I mentioned, there's nobody without history. And in recent times, we have been talking about decolonization of Africa. If we have been colonized, we cannot keep colonizing ourselves. We have to free ourselves in our, we have to liberate ourselves in our thoughts, in our imaginations, and we have to do things that are relevant to us. Now, our history cannot be taken away from us. We derive this from it, but does that mean that it should remain static? No. So what we are saying is that whatever we have inherited, we need to improve upon so that what we have to present to the society will present a better world to the oncoming generation, and they know that we have indeed impacted the world and we have made the world a better place, not a static world, not a world that is still used. You can imagine if we had insisted that this program would be a physical program, how many people will be in attendance? So many people will not be in attendance. And it's because we have decided to allow technology. That's why many people have been able to join. And so what we are trying to say is that, yes, we have history. We cannot rule out our history, but we have to rewrite our history. We have to rewrite our history in such a way that the next generation will be able to, would appreciate what we have done to impact them positively. By the way, I just got that Mr. Akibobola was my college mate at the University of Barrow. Thank you for joining this call too. At this point, I don't know whether the host would want to say anything, or should I just go ahead and do the vote of thanks? Sandra, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Olomola, for your presentation. And we would also like to thank the audience for being actively involved, asking the relevant questions, and for following through till the end. Prof, you may proceed with the vote of thanks and then closure.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to appreciate everyone that has joined this call, from participants from all over the world, particularly Nigeria, to my legal colleagues right here in Uganda, from Cavendish University, from KIU, from my students. I want to appreciate everyone and the university community of Cavendish. I want to appreciate Tanya Innovation, Mr. Maganda. And I want to thank my university college mates that have joined. I'm really overwhelmed with having them around. For Luoshuade, Layaki Bobola, Jumobi Orioye, I see all of them. I want to thank Professor Icho, our Director of Postgraduate Studies, Adekola Law, Madam Sonny, Deputy Dean of Students, Employability Officer Bernard Ochan, I see Salah. I want to appreciate my program coordinator, Polly Mienda, my academic editor in the faculty, Mr. Joe Kayerezin, my colleagues in the faculty, Kaima Moses, Dr. Odagara. I want to appreciate everyone. It may be impossible. I see my senior colleague, Professor Lokulo Shodipe. I see her on board. I want to appreciate everyone for joining, because if we make a meal and we call people to party and there's nobody to party with, then the party is a failure. I want to appreciate you all for joining in the party and for making a success out of this party. I believe when we call you another time, you will join. And to our host, our kind host, Sandra and Abakeka, want to thank you for doing an awesome job. Thank you very much. Long live Cavendish University, long live Uganda, and I say success begins at Cavendish. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Thank you, Professor Olomola.